Talks between elementary teachers and the government continue here at the Sheridan Centre at this hour for the third straight day in a row. Now, today is the deadline for progress to be made, or ETFO is amping up its strikes next week. All elementary students across the province will lose 2 days of school. Now, there's been a lot of rhetoric going on both sides about this strike, and I'm going to demystify some of it for you in just a moment. But first, here's the latest, and here's what's happening next week.
1, 2, 3, 4. We won't take it anymore.
Today, Peel was one of the boards that had all public elementary teachers walking picket lines. And this is a list of what's to come next week. On Tuesday, English Catholic teachers, elementary and secondary, will hold province-wide strikes. Also on Tuesday, OSSTF public high school teachers will resume rotating strikes. And ETFO will hold a province-wide strike on Thursday, and every board will be hit on another day with a rotating strike. Both sides are fighting for public approval, which can strengthen their positions. And for the most part, they don't agree with each other's messaging. ETFO has been putting out ads like this on Facebook.
Doug Ford's cuts mean too many students aren't getting the help they need.
Now, the government maintains it's putting more money than ever into education and denies there are cuts. The education minister has been putting out his own messaging with multiple interviews and statements. For example, yesterday, when OSSTF announced another rotating strike next week, he put out this statement saying parents are losing patience and states the union is making a $1.5 billion sector-wide demand. To clarify, the $1.5 billion number represents what the government claims it would cost to give in to all demands by all 4 education unions. The statement also says high school teachers are not completing report cards. To give that more context, teachers have completed the marks but aren't putting in comments. The statement also claims extracurricular activities have been cancelled. That's not the whole picture. Extracurriculars have been cancelled, but only on days there's a rotating strike. Teachers are still volunteering for them. In an interview on Wednesday, the education minister told City News the Union for Public Elementary Teachers was making a new demand around hiring based on seniority. And that's new? So they've added a new demand?
That's a new element.
But the union has listed that as a demand in at least 2 news releases, one in June and another in November. But aren't you spinning it here? I mean, you called it a new demand yesterday, and clearly it's not when they've put it in press releases before.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that ETFO has, in 1 or 2 instances, buried in a release, I've never heard their union leader or leadership, even if you take a liberal interpretation, speak about that, ever.
We will continue to keep watching claims by both sides. So again, ETFO is continuing negotiations right now, day 3 of negotiations here at the Sheridan Centre. Just a few minutes ago, a spokesperson for the union says the strikes next week will go ahead as planned. Now, OECTA, English Catholic teachers, are also resuming negotiations on Monday, and both ETFO and OECTA tell me that they got a call from a mediator asking them to sit down back at the table. OSSTF, though, has not had a phone call from a mediator to do the same, and there are no talks scheduled.